All right, we're doing the spark plugs, the wires, and the coils on an 2013 Silverado 5.3 engine code 7. Spark plug gap is 0.040, and the torque for these to put them back in is 18 foot-pounds. All right, check the gap on all these. All right, we're gonna start by installing number 8. And these AC Delco 41-162s do not require anti-seize because of the plating. But we will put this dielectric compound on the end after we install it so that they separate easily from the boot next time we need to go do that. So go ahead and get started on that. And honestly, this might be easier if I go ahead and put it on the socket. Put that on there, and then we will reach down behind. Cool. Okay. All right. I'm gonna leave that on there last time. All right. We are going to 18 foot-pounds. Yes, sir. All right. There we go. That's it. 18.4. All right, let's go ahead and start doing the rest. These throw in down here. And I'm going to carefully drive them just until they start snugging. Cool. There we go. So you can kind of see it on this side of the engine. They point toward the back. And on that side, they point toward the front. So just some things to think about if you're doing this for the first time. Okay. Thank you. Okay, cool. Swap over to this guy. Ah, fun. There we go. Thanks. Cool. That one's good. do it until it's tight and call it good. Me, I'm more of a by the book kind of guy, so I like to use the fancy tools and make sure I get it exactly right. And these snap-on wrenches are really good, so really accurate that is. So it's 18, but we can double check it. All right, that's the left side. Spark plugs in.
Absurd.
There we go. Okay. Oh, thanks. All right. That's the first one. Thank you. So you can kind of see the angle at which these are going in, because that kind of helps when you're going blind here. So it's kind of up, and I mean eventually you'll catch the threads, and I mean you can get in there with a mirror and do all kinds of stuff, but it's a little bit easier. And I've done so many of these, it's kind of, I don't know, it's not even really worth going through all that trouble. Plus there should be like a million videos out there already to explain how to line it up correctly. Okay. Thank you. Always hand start it, and don't start with a tool. Okay, last one. Okay. Cool. All right. And then we'll work backwards from there, doing the torquing. There we go. 18-0 exactly. Awesome. One. One. Cool. So we'll just kind of put this down here on these. Just kind of give them a good little coating. And really you want it more on the white part, because that's usually the part that gets stuck. So this might be easier on this hand. I guess while we're here, we'll Just put a little bit at the mouth of each one. Thing engages over the little nub at the end. Kind of hard to see, but there's the nub of the spark plug. So get this. Gotta make sure that little spring goes over it. There it is. There's the click. There's the click. Click. And click. Okay. Cool. These do the other side. Woo, my bad. Okay. This one. Click. Click. There. And there. Cool. Not bad. And then we'll come back and kind of rotate these. I like to make them all look really uniform. But not that big. Actually, we'll just leave that there. We'll do the driver's side ignition coils first. So we've already swapped these out from these guys. Part of the reason you want to swap them out, if they're high mileage coils, and you put brand new spark plugs on weak coils, then you can start actually getting more misfire and shuddery things, because what'll happen is that as this tiny little electrode wears down, I guess I should have showed that on the other ones, this electrode is a lot smaller than the electrode that's on the brand new ones. So with weak, small electrode and weak pack, coil pack, you can still get decent combustion. But if you put brand new, fat, full electrode and you have a weak coil, then it doesn't make as good of a spark, and then you'll get other issues. So coil packs and the spark plugs at the same time, especially now that all this stuff is so cheap on like Rock Auto and stuff like that. So that's what we're doing. And then you set this back up here. And there's kind of a little slot it'll seat into. There we go. All right, seated. And then there's my harness. All right, so let's get the studs in there. Let's get my 10mm and my ratchet. And we'll be able to do this pretty quick. Now, it's always a good idea to start these by hand, but I feel pretty confident I've done this enough, and I'm not snugging them all the way down just yet. But the reason you'd want to start these by hand is because you can cross-thread it pretty easily if you don't get it lined up just right when you're getting going. Okay. This last one back here. All right. And then this last one here. Snug. Snug. Wait, I did the wrong one. There we go. Cool. All right. And then we'll do this plug back in here, like that, and then put the lockout clip in there, make sure it's not going anywhere. And then this part's kind of important. I learned this one on my truck the wrong way. So my 08 Silverado started having intermittent thermostat issues from the sensor, and then it would go into limp mode, and I couldn't tell what happened. But at some point when I had rebuilt the engine on mine, this clip had blown out, and so I didn't have this thing for it to seat on the stud and kind of hold all the pressure away from this. This is your like master harness bundle, right, that goes up to the fuse box. So it had chafed a hole in the bottom of the harness, and it was arcing a couple of the wires, throwing the whole engine into limp mode. And I couldn't figure it out for the longest time. And then we just happened to be going through it one day and looked at the bottom, and sure enough, there was a chafed hole. And we were like, this is just ridiculous. So make sure to put all of your standoffs back over the studs to make sure that there are no wires touching the top of these harness, or the top of the studs, because that is a problem. I learned that one the hard way. All right, and then from here, we're just gonna take these and plug them in. Again, you wanna hear a click. And there. I'll rotate this one a little bit. Again, I'm a little OCD. I like to have them all looking really uniform. There you go, there's the click. So you should hear an audible click going all the way across. That side's done.
Sweet.
Okay, let's go down here. And then we have to lift this harness up a little bit and then work it under. And then you also need to get over the dipstick. And then it should be right about there. There should be a front centering. There it is. Okay, cool. Let's get these in. And this one, on this side specifically, you've got an extra bracket to hold your coolant hoses going up to the heater core up here. You need to get those. Whoops, that was upside down. You need to get that installed over that stud. Okay. This is the last one. I hate this one. I honestly, in my truck, I didn't even reinstall it last time because they put it on there just so they have a total of 5 studs or whatnot, but that one you can't reach with an impact or anything. You have to do it with a wrench. And in my eyes, it's non-critical, but we're gonna do it just because. Okay, and then that last one is just the worst. So, do it by hand for most of it, and then it really helps to have a ratcheting wrench.
Can y'all keep an eye on Carter for a minute?
Yeah. Okay. Hey, buddy.
What's up, little man?
Okay. All right. Now that all that's in there, let's put this bracket on. And this bracket goes like this kind of self-seats a little bit. There we go. Make sure all your other stuff's out of the way. Get your standoffs. Tell you what, before I do that, let's get these standoffs on here. There. Get your clip in. There. Back out piece. And standoff here. All of your injector wiring is out of the way. And so we are good. There we go. Cool. All right. That's all good. Set. Your injector wires are good. Cool beans. Okay, now let's get that bracket in. So we'll set the bracket. And then these hoses will go in there. And get this nut on the top. Glove in there a little bit. There we go. Cool. Again, you want that click. If you don't hear the click, back it off and put it back on. This last one's a little tricky to get to. Go. Just click on that one. Cool. All right. Now that is how you do your spark plugs, wires, and your coils on the 5.3.